we are going to be writing a residential real estate contract offer in Dotloop. So I'm going to just open this straight from Dotloop because by the time I'm writing an offer, I should already have an exclusive buyer agency signed with the client, so they already have a loop created for them. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign in. You can always access through command if you would like to. I am going to open up my training loop. So you would just open up the loop that has that person's name on it, and then it is going to bring you into this. So the first thing that you're going to have to do once you have your loop open is add document. And if you'll remember from the previous video, you have the three options here: templates, browse, or email. For this, we're going to be doing a KCRAR template. So you're going to click on template, going to click on 2021 KCRAR residential forms, and this form is called residential real estate contract. So you start typing it in, you can see it is right here. We're going to copy that into our loop and click OK. Now you'll see that it shows down here in your folder. You'll be able to click on that and bring it up so that we can start filling it out. So I am going to go ahead and add a second person here for my buyer, just so as a refresher on how to do this. Okay, and of course I can't remember email, so if you've done this before, there you go. Okay, and he's already a buyer. All right, so we're going to add person. Okay, so again, here I am the buying agent, and here this is your autofill. So everything that you put in here is automatically going to go over to the contract. So I'm going to fill in the address. So pay attention here. This says street number. So you just put the street number and then you tab and then you put the street name. You have to have the city. I'm just making this up as I go. Your state, zip code, and then your county. Okay, so this will come from your listing. Okay, then you've got this information which should pre-populate. You'll notice that this is our old address, so I am going to update that. This is because I do not use Dotloop, on a regular basis. I use DocuSign. So update that information. Then financials. So let's say we're purchasing this house for $250,000. We're going to put $1,000 down for our earnest deposit, and let's just say it's going to be held with security first title. So let me backtrack and show you how to find out where the earnest money is held. So I'm going to switch over here. We're just going to use this listing as an example. So let's say this were the address that we were putting an offer in on. Okay, all of the information that you need is going to be within this. So if you scroll down here to the very bottom, you'll see will sell, cash conventional, those types of things, and then it has deposit. So security first. So the listing agent and the seller are going to determine where the earnest deposit goes. So you always want to look here, and that is what you will put in for where the earnest deposit goes. Okay, closing date, let's say we're just going to do like around a 30-day. Okay, buyer, again, you've got the buyer name, you've got offer expiration date, so let's say we're going to give them 24 hours. And then occupancy, you can put a date on here based on your closing date. So if they've asked for a day for possession, you can always put the next day. I typically, after I've called, will ask and usually just put at funding so that they can get possession the same day. Okay, property includes, those you'll leave blank. And then legal description, you'll also have to get that from here. So again, I'm going back to this listing. So I'm in MLS, and then click on Realist Property Full Details. That is going to take you here where you'll find a whole bunch of more information about the property. About halfway down, you'll see here under tax information, you have legal description. What I do is I just copy and paste this into the legal description. Okay, and that is something that you do want to make sure that you do for every offer that you put in. Okay, you can click autofill and you'll see that it does pre-populate some information. So for this, you have to add a married couple. I have to go find the seller's name now. So you have a couple of different options for finding that. First of all, we have the realist tax information up. So you can see here owner name is the 411 or the 4411 Claremont Avenue Land Trust. You can verify by looking at documents. So these are the supplements that have been added. You can verify that that is the same as what they have on their forms. So yes, so that would be in this instance the 4411 Claremont, oops. Oh, I'm just going to say that land trust. Okay, so that may or may not be correct, but obviously you want to make sure that that's correct. Okay, so you've got the address that populates here. You do have to then come in and select whether this is Kansas or Missouri. It does not do that for you. All right, you'll see it auto-populated the initials here. So auto-assigned them, so no worries on that moving forward. This section here is if you have any additional inclusions, exclusion, or additional terms. Typically, you want to try not to write anything additional in because this has already been vetted and written by attorneys. We don't want to add a whole bunch of additional stuff in that could harm the integrity of the contract. Okay, so definitely talk to your coach about additional inclusions, exclusions, or terms. An example of this might be, let's say, for example, on the seller's disclosure, it says that the refrigerator is not staying, but your clients want to ask for it to stay. So that could be an additional inclusion where you write in refrigerator in kitchen to remain with property. So that's an example. This section here is if your client would like for usually we always have the seller pay for a home warranty for the buyer. So if so, you would click here. You always want it to be the seller for this one. However much the home warranty costs, the name of the home warranty, and how much the deductible is for the home warranty. And then you would select licensee assisting buyer is going to make arrangements to order that plan. Down here we have our different addenda. So if there's a seller's disclosure, and hopefully that there is, you're going to add that to the contract. If the house was built before 1978, you are going to need a lead-based paint. If it is a contingent offer, you would need that. If there is a franchise disclosure for the other company, you would need to include that here. So this is based on what is loaded in documents. Okay, going on to this next page, this is where you're going to mark if the seller or buyer is a licensed broker. And these bottom two are if you are related or the listing agent is related. And if so, that should be something that they should be putting in the information on MLS so that you know that prior to writing an offer. Okay, then here we have our financial page. So purchase price pre-populated over from what I input. So again, we're going to offer $250,000. Security first, $1,000. These came over. I would always research the title company and see if they have electronic funds transfer or ACH, or if you're going to need to do a personal check. I personally use Security First. I know they do electronic funds. So if that title company has the ability to do electronic funds, I'm always going to select that. That's just to ensure that it's easier and more timely for everyone to get that earnest deposit done. Additional earnest deposit, typically this is going to be 0. And then you've got total amount financed by buyer. So for this example, let's say that they are a conventional loan, so they're putting 3% down. So that means that they are financing 97%. So you're going to take $250,000 times 97%, which means they are going to be financing $242,500. And then we do our calculations here, and it shows you purchase price less B, C, and D. So our purchase price of $250 minus our earnest deposit of $1,000 minus the amount that they are going to be financing, which was the $242,500. That leaves $6,500 left for them to pay in certified funds at closing just for their down payment. This does not include closing costs. These last 3 lines are if your client is planning on asking for the seller to pay any of their closing costs. So in this market, you're probably not going to be able to do that, but typically in some instances you can if you go far enough over the list price. So let's say, for example, this particular client is going to ask for $3,000 to be paid by the seller. So it's $3,000, 0, and then a total of $3,000. Okay, coming here, you'll see it pre-populated our closing date and our possession. And I'm not going through the whole contract, I'm just showing you guys how to fill it out. So this is something that, again, you need to review and have an understanding of and be able to explain to your client prior to them signing this, what it is that they're signing. Okay, here we have our contingency. So is it contingent or not? We're going to say not in this example. And then if it's a cash sale, you hit this one and then you don't have to fill out the rest of this information below. If it's a financed sale, you do need to fill out the rest. So is it owner occupied or is it an investment loan? Like I said earlier, it's a conventional loan. So you just check the appropriate box. It's a fixed rate. We're going to do that it's a 30-year. And again, I said that they're putting 3% down. So that means their principal amount or loan to value is 97%. Okay. This one, line 306, people typically tend to miss. So please be on the lookout for that one. Here we have the loans will bear interest as follows. Typically, I always do prevailing rate at closing. And then the buyer is pre-approved. This is where you're going to put that information in. The company, so whatever bank it is, and then the name of the loan officer. Those both will go in this blank. Okay. Typically these are left blank. The only time that I fill this one out is if it's an FHA loan or a VA loan, and I notice things that are going to need to be fixed while we're walking through. You can upfront ask for a certain amount of money to be spent to fix the things that could come up on appraisal. So if they need railing put up, if you know that it's going to need paint, you can specify a certain amount of money to be paid by the seller during that process. Okay, again, I'm not going to go through everything on here. Inspections defaults to 10 days. So unless you're going to go less or more, you usually just leave that blank. Typically, you're not going to put any additional structures to be included in inspection. You're typically not going to write anything in there. Actually, I've never written anything in those, to be honest. Coming down here, we have to designate how each party is being represented. So again, this is going to be found if I go back to the listing. So I'm in MLS. You'll see here, listing agent capacity as a designated agent. So when I come here, I'm going to click designated agent, and then I'm the designated agent for the buyer. Okay, here you're going to click whether or who the broker is compensated by. So it's always the seller. And then if you have a BAC, so if you're charging a broker administration commission, you would also click buyer. I'm the buyer's agent, so I could just go ahead and click sign that right now. And it automatically pre-populates the signature for your buyers. Okay. Then coming down here, we don't have anything else until we get to the expiration, which it automatically populated. The only thing that I would want to do is add in an additional time if it's different than 5 o'clock. So let's say I'm going to be submitting this here soon. So maybe I do 12 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. That gives them a little bit more than 12 hours, or I'm sorry, 24 hours to respond. Then here we have the information that pre-populated for myself. But you'll see that this is blank. So you will want to go in and fill this information out based on the listing agent information. So again, going over to MLS, so the brokerage, you'll see right here, this one is actually Keller Williams Realty Partner. So you're just going to type that in, Realty Partner. Okay, and then you have to go find the address of that. So going back to MLS, if you click on the name of the listing office, it'll bring up a new window for you, and you'll see here is the address. So 6850 College Boulevard. So again, you're just going to type that stuff in. Boulevard, Overland Park. Just going to fill all of that in. Okay. You get the point. Then the name of the agent, I'm going to close that, go back to MLS. You'll see there it is Christine Dunn. So filling this in, Christine Dunn. And then phone number. So this is going to be their cell phone number. So again, MLS, you'll see here agent phone. So I can just copy this and paste it here. Maybe. And then it asks for the broker. So then that's going to be office phone. You'll see right above the agent. Okay, so copy and paste that in here. And then it asks for address. You'll see it's right underneath her name. So again, just copy and paste that over. Copy, paste. Okay, and then you do have to sign here. Because you are the licensee that is preparing the form. So you're going to have to click on Assigned Field, select yourself, and then sign that. At this point, you are ready to save and share with the clients. I would give it another cursory glance, but you'll click Save and Share. And if you remember from my previous video, I always attach PDF to email. Again, you can write a short little custom message in here to your clients if you would like. I always make sure that these do say can sign, and then I look to make sure that it has the appropriate number of fields assigned. So this is 16 pages, so there should be 16 fields because they have to do something on every single page. And then you would just share that with your client. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, please reach out to your coach.